Welcome to the Business Finance Bulletin, episode 158. Again to the latest Business Finance Bulletin with me, Rob Warlow from Business Loan Services. In this bulletin, finance options for small businesses, a tie-up between Ratesetter and TaxAssist Accountants, and bank lending to small businesses. Let's start this bulletin by taking a look generally at the concept of financing options available for small businesses. Now, as we know, since the credit crunch, the government has been making a great play on trying to get business owners to understand that there are finance options out there. If you look back at the old days when small businesses really believed that banks were the only source of finance, which in reality they were. But post-credit crunch, there have been a lot of alternative finance providers have come into the marketplace. Now, I had an interesting conversation this week with a client when we were talking about commercial funding, generally around a property development facility they were looking for. Now, this client had been introduced to us by Luke Kowalski of Finance Simplified. Now, Luke is an asset finance broker that we do a lot of work with, and Luke kindly introduced us in. And these guys were really singing Luke's praise because he's a great guy, and they were just saying that Luke had opened their eyes to the finance options that were out there. They've been running their business for 3 or 4 years and had really believed that there was nothing out there for them. But when Luke had gone in there, it really opened their eyes, as they said, to what was available. They just didn't know. And there's an important lesson there that you must not assume that the banks are the only source of finance. They really are lots of different sources. So if you do have growth plans, don't just assume there's no one else out there to help you, because there are. What do you need to do? Well, obviously get in touch with finance brokers like ourselves and also Luke, because we know where the finance providers are. Now, if you're looking for a specific asset finance facility, please do check out Luke Kowalski. His website is financesimplified.co.uk. So great praise there from those clients for Luke. And of course, that great saying, praise is power. So well done to that firm for seeking out help. Over the last few years, we've really seen the rules around raising finance being broken, and yet another example of how old world is meeting new world and essentially bypassing the old way of raising finance, which is going straight to banks, as I mentioned in the previous point. Well, an example here is of TaxAssist. TaxAssist are an accountancy franchise operating across the UK, 290 offices, and many helping small businesses with all of their tax affairs. Well, they've recently announced a tie-up with Ratesetter. Now, Ratesetter are a peer-to-peer lender, and they do lots of working capital and growth facilities for expanding businesses. So Ratesetter and TaxAssist have now joined forces together. So when the TaxAssist accountants see a need for financing from one of their clients, they have an immediate in to Ratesetter. Now, that's great for TaxAssist clients because there's no messing about. They've got a straight line into a peer-to-peer funder. And I say it's another good example of how people are breaking the rules. You've got a provider of finance being immediately linked up with a person who can supply business to that lender. So if you want to know more about Ratesetter, just go along to their website, which is ratesetter.com. If you want to know about TaxAssist, just do TaxAssist in your search box and your local area, and there you will find the local accountant assigned to your town. Moving on now to our monthly look at the amount of money that UK banks are lending to small businesses. Every month, the Bank of England produces a report looking at the total amount of money currently outstanding at the end of each month, and the statistics at the end of January 2017 have just been released. Now, if you've been watching previous bulletins, you know I've been mentioning some evidence coming that small business owners are being a little bit more cautious when it comes to borrowing money for investment. And sure enough, this is beginning to now come out and being reflected in these statistics. Now, at the end of January 2017, compared to the end of December 2016, there's been a fall of £200 million in the total amount of money outstanding to small businesses. And that comes on the back of a fall of £300 million compared to December to November 2016. So overall, £500 million has shrunk from the total amount of money outstanding to UK small businesses. Now, in terms of growth, on a 12-month basis, at the end of November 2016, the overall annual growth was about 1.7%. The end of January 2017, that growth rate is now down to 1.2% over 12 months. So as you can see, that money is beginning to shrink. Is it banks being less interested in lending? I don't think so. It's clear that small business owners, as I said at the start of this segment, is that the appetite is beginning to shrink a little bit. People are being a little bit more cautious. So what about you? If you're sitting there wondering, you do have investment plans, what should you do? Well, again, I've mentioned in previous bulletins, don't forget there's a definition of being good debt and bad debt. Good debt will help you grow your business. So if you do have growth plans, just get out there, hunt the finance out, and really start improving the economy and improving your bottom line by going into growth. Well, that's it for this bulletin, and as ever, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a like and a share. Don't forget, if you're watching the video version, we've got the podcast version for you to download and listen to at your leisure. That's available on iTunes, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. So that's it. Don't forget, if you do have a finance request that you want to bounce around and have a little chat about, just drop us an email, info@businessloanservices.co.uk, and we'll happily have a chat with you. So that's it for this week. Thanks very much. Have a great, successful and profitable week. Bye-bye now.